Welcome, Sens Talk.
Stützle winds in, feeds it back across, Kachuk and scores! Brady Kachuk makes it 2-0. Hit alone, scores!
Tim Stützle across, Kachuk score! The captain, Brady Kachuk, buries it with 1:18 to go.
See you later. Go, Sens, go. Welcome to Sens Talk. My name is Brandon Plant, and I am your host. Tonight, Ottawa returns after a 5-game road trip where they went 0 for 5. They struck out against all the teams they faced on the road. The Senators are in a spiral, and that's an understatement to say the least. The Senators look to end that spiral tonight against the Pittsburgh Penguins. Always a tough opponent. But for the Ottawa Senators, not so much as of late. They've won their last 3 out of 4 against the Pittsburgh Penguins. But Ottawa overall, not against Pittsburgh, but overall, have been terrible. They've lost their last 6 games, including their last 5 on the road, of course, like I just mentioned. They're now 11-17-0 on the year, and they've lost their last 10 out of 13 games. They haven't won many games in about a month. It's been a terrible month to be a Senator fan. Hopefully they can turn things around tonight. Now, by the way, Merry Christmas to everyone that celebrates. Tomorrow is Christmas Eve. The Sens don't play until after Christmas. So if you celebrate, Merry Christmas. I hope you get a lot of gifts and have a great time with all of your family. Now, the same lineup for the Ottawa Senators would play tonight as they did on Thursday against the Colorado Avalanche, except Anton Forsberg would start instead of Jonas Korpisalo, as Nedeljkovic starts for the Pittsburgh Penguins, and Erik Karlsson's return to the nation's capital for the first time as a Penguin. Always weird to see him on another team, let alone on the Pittsburgh Penguins. But let's get to the first period of play, and 11 minutes in, Jakob Chychrun, who's been very good as of late offensively, continues that run with his first goal in 18 games. He drives into the zone, puts one past Nedeljkovic, Senators lead 1-0. 11 minutes in, Jakob Chychrun with his first goal in 18 games, his 11th point in the last 7 games though, and Jakob Chychrun gets things started here for the Ottawa Senators. They lead 1-0, but that lead would be short-lived because 4 minutes later, Riley Smith feeds an open Lars Eller on the power play at the bottom of the hash mark. He ties it up 1-1. This is a weird one because you can argue Forsberg maybe should have made a stop there. It was a tough shot though at the same time. My beef with this is, why is Lars Eller all there alone? And more importantly, how can a pass from just to the left of the blue line get through the middle of the ice right to Lars Eller, who's left alone? So the defense blew that one, frankly, and the Pens make them pay for it. It's 1-1. But 20 seconds later, the Senators are not a fan of not having the lead, as 20 seconds later, Josh Norris, home run, Shohei Ohtani, Canada's got Josh Norris. As the Ottawa Senators take the lead right back, it's 2-1. Norris has scored in 5 straight games, his 5th in 5, his 12th of the year. Ottawa leads 2-1. Beautiful pass from behind the net from El Capitano, Brady Kachuk, as Ottawa, after 20 minutes of play, well-deservingly leads by a goal. It's 2-1. By the way, you know, I got Jamie Dean on Twitter asking me what the slugging percentage is between Tim Stützle and Josh Norris. I got some stats from the Sens Talk stat department, and Tim Stützle has a bit of an advantage on the slugging percentage. He's got 2 home run goals in his NHL career. His first ever NHL goal against the Leafs, of course, and of course, earlier this year in overtime for the OTGWG against the Detroit Red Wings. Cough, cough, foreshadowing. Let's go to the second period of play, and 3 minutes in, Ottawa continues to put pucks into the back of the net, and we love to see it. Claude Giroux pulls a Riley Smith. Riley Smith did this to the Ottawa Senators in the first period, and the Ottawa Senators do it to the Pittsburgh Penguins in the second period, only 3 minutes in. Claude Giroux with a beautiful cross-zone backhand pass to El Capitano. Brady Kachuk all alone out front. Bang! 3-1 Senators as Brady Kachuk picks up his second goal in 8 games. Ottawa retakes a 2-goal lead. It's 3-1 Senators. But just like when they scored to open things up in the first period of play, the Penguins would respond rather quickly. A couple minutes later, Riley Smith on a 2-1 feeds Rickard Rakell for an easy tap-in. No chance for Forsberg. The Penguins are down by 1 again. It's a 3-2 game. But 2 minutes later, just like when the last time the Penguins scored, the Ottawa Senators respond right away. 7 minutes in, 2 minutes later, Brady Kachuk stays onside by literally a hair as he stays onside, drives to the net, drops it off to Brandstrom, and guess what? Eric Brandstrom does franchise things. 4-2 Senators for his second of the year as the Brandstrom drives to the net. Tkachuk sees that, feeds him, sends up by 2 again, going to the third period of play. What a play here from El Capitano, who has 3 points on the night, 2 assists, and a goal, of course, and Brandstrom with a second of the year as well on a beautiful one as Ottawa leads 4-2. This one looked really, really close. I wasn't too confident it would stand. Thankfully, it stands. It's a goal. Ottawa leads by 2 going to the third period of play. And when Ottawa leads going to the third period of play, they are 9-3-0. But, as we saw quite often, unfortunately, on that road trip, the Ottawa Senators like to collapse, and they love to collapse in the third period. We saw that against Colorado, for example, and it looks like we might be seeing that again tonight. 2 minutes into the third period of play, Pettersson from the point has a shot tipped out front by O'Connor. No luck of the Irish here as the Pittsburgh Penguins cut the lead to 1. It's 4-3. Really, Greg has to do a far better job at boxing out O'Connor here at the tip of the crease. Nonetheless, the Penguins cut the lead to 1 again. It's 4-3, and unlike the other times in the game when the Penguins scored, Ottawa would not respond. In fact, it was all Penguins in the third period of play. They outshot us heavily, and with 2 minutes left, they would finally tie it up. The Pens tied here with a couple minutes left in the game after outshooting us 22-4 in the period to this point. Another collapse in the third period of play, up by 2 goals going to the third period. The Senators squander it, and they let the game go away. And the Penguins tie it. It's 4-4. Luckily, unlike against Colorado, the Senators would go to overtime. They'd luckily at least pick up the loser point. And I feel like such a loser for being somewhat happy about that, to be honest with you. But, once again, the Senators look far better than they have in some time under Jacques Martin. There's no doubt about that. They fight far more than they used to under DJ Smith. They know that, look, the next move here is going to be a trade. So they're playing for, their team. They want to stay together, right? So you can tell the team is fighting far more. They look a little more composed, and over time we'll see more of Martin's touch on this team. But it is still very concerning that, obviously the coach is not going to fix this in a few days, but it is very concerning that this team just cannot hold on to a lead if their life depended on it. And, you shouldn't feel not secure with a 2-goal lead going to the third period of play. That should be a very comfortable feeling. And it feels like Ottawa needs to have 3, 4, maybe even 5 goals to feel like, all right, this is when it's going to be good for Ottawa. So, unfortunately, another collapse. But you know what? Winning makes you forget the bad. And a minute here into the overtime period, just over a minute in, incredible play here. Jacob Chychrun forces a turnover off of Evgeny Malkin, an absolute horse, a huge human. So that's incredible right there. He keeps it in. Drake Batherson picks it up, feeds Tim Stützle. I told you there was some foreshadowing before. Timmy Stu puts it home. OTGWG as the Ottawa Senators take down the Penguins 5-4 in overtime, and they snap the 6-game losing streak, and they go into the Christmas break with a massive win, hopefully, that could turn around the season and get the Ottawa Senators onto a nice little holiday streak. But a great game here in terms of entertainment, and more importantly, in terms of end results, as the Ottawa Senators win 5-4 over the Pittsburgh Penguins. They've won their last 4 out of 5 against Pittsburgh as well. Tim Stützle, more like Timothy Stützle, gets the game-winning goal in overtime for your Ottawa Senators. That man is clutch. And once again, the Ottawa Senators snap a 6-game losing streak, which is huge as well. Once again, the next game they play is on Friday, so they have a few days off here. But nonetheless, it is great. It is huge to go into this break, mentally speaking especially. Obviously, in the standings, it's good too. Mentally, to finish off with a win, that's something you can really build a positive off of. And you can look at the collapse and all this and all that. They got the win. That's what matters at the end of the day. And mentally speaking, that's what you should focus on. Now, congratulations to Jacques Martin. His first win as the Senators head coach in 7,204 days. The last win was against the Leafs. Congratulations to Jacques Martin, who frankly deserved a win against Arizona for sure on Tuesday. That was another collapse. And then, of course, on Colorado as well. You could tell the boys are playing much better, much more urgent under Jacques Martin. This guy's an experienced coach. I'm ecstatic that he's our leader on the bench right now. Somebody with that much experience for such a young team only can be a positive. So congratulations to him. Speaking of the coaching staff, the penalty kill tonight was fantastic. They went 6 for 7 against Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh did score a power play goal, but overall, 6 for 7 against the power play with Letang, Carlson, Crosby, Evgeny Malkin, Riley Smith. I mean, there's so many good players. 6 for 7 is fantastic. You have to be far more disciplined, of course. But I wanted to give a nod to the penalty kill, which has been the worst in the National Hockey League this year, for a good performance tonight. Now, speaking of good performances, Anton Forsberg stood on his head tonight. The save percentage doesn't say that. It's an .882 save percentage. He stopped 30 of 34. But, I mean, my goodness. In that third period, 20 out of 22 shots he stopped. Made some huge 10-bell saves in the final few minutes as well to give Ottawa a chance to win in regulation at the very least. He stood on his head. He'll probably start the next game against the Devils on December 29th, next Friday, because he looked very, very good. And Korpisalo, after that tough loss against Arizona, that tough loss, of course, against Colorado, and the tough losses against, Vegas and, the other teams we face on the road trip like St. Louis and Dallas. Yeah, it's nice for Korpisalo to get a bit of a mental break as well. But Forsberg, you got to ride with the hot hand, I think, especially when you're dealing with a season like we're dealing with right now. So Forsberg probably should start coming out of the break. But he played fantastic. I want to give him a bit of a tip of the cap as well, because the stat line doesn't really show the true performance that he had. Now, besides that, a massive win. I'll see you before December 29th. I'll definitely put out some sort of video or interview, so stay tuned for that. After Christmas, probably on the 26th or so, on the Tuesday. But yeah, besides that, let me know what you think in the comment section down below. How are we feeling? How good does it feel to get a nice W before the holiday season? Let me know what all your thoughts down below, of course, and I'll respond to all of them as usual. Now, thank you all for watching. I'll see you all soon. And once again, Merry Christmas, and I'll talk to you all soon. Go Sens, go.